And welcome back to Cigar Time, your friendly Tuesday night show all about premium cigars. We're lucky enough to have held over for a second week Larry Palumbo from Altadis, or Altadis.
Hey, Larry.
Which one is
Hi,
it?
Larry.
Is it Altadis or Altadis?
I don't know. It's spelled the same on my check.
What's it say
so
on the
I
page?
don't-
I kind of
Nice.
This show is brought to you by Altadis. We'll do it every other time. We'll call it Altadis one time, Altadis another time. But more importantly, what you know them as is Romeo y Julieta, Monte Cristo, Vega Fina, Trinidad, H. Upman, St. Louis Ray. What else?
Juan Lopez.
Juan Lopez.
Don Diego.
Don Diego.
Onyx, Don Diego. Playboy. Ah,
Right.
There's a name from the past. I'll show you later what I have
All
for
right,
Playboy.
good.
No, it's legit, not a calendar.
Oh.
And the lovely Miss T is going to tell you about our cigar today. What's that?
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I don't know what he's talking about.
I do.
I never know what you guys are talking about. No.
Surprise me.
You think we do?
No, you don't. The cigar of the day is the H. Upman, the Banker. This is paying tribute to the bankers. Herman Upman, who traveled to Cuba in 1840 to craft this cigar. He wanted it to fit for the most prestigious banking clients. It was lost due to a fire that happened in the 1920s. So now it's been rediscovered, reblended to replicate the original. It's all Cuban seeded tobacco, and it's supposed to reminisce. It's a reminiscence. Am I saying that right? Reminiscence of the old style cigar. And I really, really love this band. The wrapper is an Ecuadorian Habano. The binder is from the region of Jalapa in Nicaragua, and the filler is Nicaraguan and Dominican. The sizes are the currency, which is a 5.5 by 48, the annuity, which is a 6 by 52, and the
Arbitrage.
spelled
Arbitrage.
it wrong. Arbitrage. Yeah, that spelled it wrong. 7 by 56. The taste profile, yeah, you left the R out. The taste profile is earth, natural, tobacco, chocolate, and pepper.
We're on our game today.
I told you we shoot a real time. I mean, mistake.
Right, this
Yeah,
one has-
mistake, you gotta just keep going. And the strength is medium to full body.
Well, I think it's time for us all to light it up and enjoy it.
I think we should mention that we were filming this in front of a live studio.
Oh, yes,
audience.
we're shooting in front of a live studio audience.
Yeah.
Feel free to laugh whenever you want.
Yeah, this has two bands on it.
They're liable to get
Yeah.
laryngitis.
You see how nice it pulls off?
Two bands.
That's probably had that three.
Impeccable construction, by the way. Again, another great looking cigar by Altadis.
Oh, well, a few.
Another beautiful red.
Yeah,
Thank you.
My favorite.
your favorite. I
To
should
go
have
along with the
mentioned that.
beautiful thing in
Ecuadorian.
It's my favorite also. I shouldn't be saying
What
that.
cigar is that?
Actually, when we're done talking about the cigar, I have a question for you about Ecuadorian tobacco.
Okay. I actually brought some with me.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
So that wasn't your lunch?
Well, part of it was.
Yeah, I had that bundle you came in with. I thought you had a nice big hoagie sandwich for everybody.
Yeah.
We call it a hero.
Here, oh yeah, I forgot where it was.
That's right.
I don't know. That's a hoagie.
Well, at least he didn't call it a grinder.
A grinder.
Grinders are awesome.
It's the same thing as a hoagie and a
But it's,
hero.
but it's yeah.
What is that?
Zep, yeah.
A
Zep.
Zep.
Huh? You don't know what a Zep is.
I'm always amazed how this company's cigars always draw well.
Mm-hmm.
Always draw well.
Well, every bunch is draw tested in the
Yeah.
factory.
Yeah, I believe it.
Yeah.
I think they've done a really good job of taking some of the older brands and reintroducing new blends between this, the Montes, the Romeos,
Absolutely.
the St. Louis Rays. I think they're doing, and the Juan Lopez too. Doing a
Actually,
great
a year
job.
ago, we came up with a legacy by H. Upman,
Yeah.
which
Right, yeah.
was very well
Right,
received.
right.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Yes. So that helped to put a little rejuvenation into the H. Upman
Yeah, we have them
brand.
here. They're selling well.
Yeah, they are something good.
I like they just came in with the
The,
with the molds.
Yeah.
the legacy in a
10-pack
mold.
Molds.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Or as
I
I
think
like
we
to
have
call
too
them,
many
the
of those
moldy
left.
legacies.
We pretty well sold out of those. There's a few left.
There's a couple,
Maybe.
yeah.
By the time you see this, they may be all gone.
Yes.
The legacy has a Ecuadorian Sumatra wrapper. This has an Ecuadorian Cuban seed wrapper.
And is the filler and the binder much different?
This has a Dominican filler. The Legacy is primarily Nicaraguan and Honduras filler and binder.
A little more oomph to that one.
Made in Honduras. This is made in the DR.
Romano.
Actually, I think this has, personally, I think this has a little more oomph to
Oh,
it
really?
than the Legacy.
I agree.
The Legacy has a Sumatra wrapper, but it's more from lower in the plant. So it's a thinner leaf than this is. This is wrapper more from the top of a plant, of the plant. So it has a little more guts to it, body and oil in it.
I
Which
always
imparts strength.
I always like to ask, you know, a maestro such as
Yeah.
yourself, the age-old argument in cigar smoking. You know, what percent of the flavor comes from the wrapper? What percent comes from the bunch?
Well,
Your opinion.
the wrapper is far and away the most influential component of a cigar. It's what you look at also physically gives you an idea of what the cigar may taste like, but for some reason, in my opinion, it's somewhere around 50% of the smoke. The taste comes from the wrapper. I've had cigars made where we reverse the wrapper and binder so that you take the wrapper and make it a binder, you take the binder and make it a wrapper, and you're smoking the same tobaccos, but they taste totally different.
The reverse order.
Yeah, it's incredible. For some reason, the outer leaf just imparts a lot of the taste of a cigar.
It's also the part that's on your tongue,
Yeah.
too. It's
Yes.
in close proximity to your tongue.
Correct.
Well, especially when you're dealing with a fairly spicy
Yeah.
wrapper,
Yeah. You get it.
like an Ecuadorian Habano or
Yes.
a higher cutting
Yeah.
Sumatra too.
These Ecuadorian wrappers, whether it's Sumatra or Cuban seed, they burn very well. That's one of the great attributes of Ecuadorian tobacco. They burn very well.
Larry, I had a question about Habano wrapper in particular. You know, there was this period of time when everybody was dealing with Habano 2000 wrapper. And I just thought it might be useful to have some clarification about the difference between Habano and Habano 2000.
Okay, Havana 2000 is a seed that was really one of the Cubans developed all these seeds primarily because of blue mold. Blue mold is a fungus that can affect all tobaccos, but in particular wrapper tobacco, because this fungus or blue mold goes on the underside of a leaf and sort of sits there and creates a hole. So it's particularly dangerous when you have blue mold on a wrapper crop. So the Cubans, it took them many, many years, developed these hybrid seeds that had to be somewhat resistant to blue mold, but also to maintain the taste of the original Cuban seed. So it took them 10, 15, 20 years to develop these seeds over time. Havana 2000 was really the first one that they developed. It was grown first in Cuba, but then it was also grown in Nicaragua. One of the problems with the Nicaraguan tobacco is that it doesn't burn very well. And this Havana 2000 that Nicaragua first grew looked beautiful, but it had a burn problem.
Yeah.
It was flame
Okay.
retardant.
Right. Sort of
Flame
asbestos.
retardant, yeah.
Right. I'm not this wrapper actually is Havana 2000 that's grown in Ecuador.
Ecuadorian Habano
They
2000
found that
is very
seed
different.
they found that seed was the best to grow in Ecuador. There's one grower that basically grows either Sumatra or Cuban seed in Ecuador, and they found that the Havana 2000 was the best for Ecuador. Yep. So
Thank you.
it's not publicized that much, and I'm not letting anything out of the bag, but the tobacco is Havana 2000. Okay? There are also these same people now experimenting with growing other seeds in Ecuador, and it's still in the testing stage. They're trying Criollo 98 and Corojo 99, but presently their commercial production is Havana 2000.
Larry, what
Perez.
goes... Oh, I'm sorry. Did you have a question, Paul?
Well, it was an aside.
Follow
Was
up?
that Perez or
No, that's Oliva.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oliva the grower.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Perez grows primarily Connecticut
Connecticut
shade.
shade.
They do grow some Cuban seed, but it's only for one customer.
Larry, I think it would be interesting to our viewers if you could explain the process that goes into the creation of a cigar from day one to day on the shelf of the retailers. because I know the Banker is a relatively new product from Altadis, and I mean, and I know you had a lot of say in this cigar.
Right.
Can you just give our viewers an idea of what goes into this process?
Okay.
How long does it take?
Okay, it takes a long period of time, but I'll explain. We had new management take over the company that came from Spain, and they've been running our division for about the last 3 or 4 years. And what they did right off the bat was really, they came up with a great idea. They created a team, they call it the Maestros of Cigars, and it's a group of people, it's about 10 to 12 people, of which I'm part of the team, being the leaf buyer. But it also incorporates people from the factory, people that are in the tobacco end in the factory, people that are in the production end of the factory, as well as people from marketing and sales. So we get together every about 2 months, and the factories come up with blends, which I get involved with, but primarily it's the people in the factory. And we do blind testing of these blends. And we actually vote. It's a very serious thing that we do. There's no talking, and there's about 12 to 15 people that are part of this team. And we smoke probably 2 cigars in the morning and 2 in the afternoon. Initially, we tried smoking like 4 in the morning, but after a while, you don't know what you're tasting. It all starts to taste the same. So we have a rule now. We test 2 in the morning, 2 in the afternoon, and we rate the cigars on a sheet for burn, for taste, strength, and it's all done blind test. As I said, it's a blind test, and we submit our forms, and then the majority rules. You know, I have no more say than some guy who's working in the blends in the factory, or somebody who's in the box factory who's a cigar smoker that tests the cigars. So we go by majority rules, and we've been very, very successful.
Absolutely.
Over these last 3 or 4 years. We've come up with we came up with the Romeo by Romeo and Juliet, which is a great cigar.
Great cigar.
We came up with the Monte Cristo Epic. We came up with the Monte Cristo Monte. We came up with the
that's
Legacy,
excellent.
the Gen 2, the
love that
Banker, the new Monte Cristo Espada. This is all as a result of this group of 12 to 15 people who will work on the blends and smoke the cigars. So it's been very
Yeah, they're
successful.
doing a great job.
Glad-
that's for sure.
Really, they're doing a great job. and
I
it's
have a
great
question
idea.
about that process, because I've done some little bit of blending also. When you get the samples from the factories of the different blends that you're going to try, presumably they're not at that point as aged as they would be when it comes out as a production item.
One of the things that I insisted on, me personally, is that we don't smoke the cigars until they've been aged a minimum of 4 weeks, preferably 4 to 8 weeks in the aging room before we test the cigars.
So you have a better idea of where it's going to wind up instead
Correct.
of where it
you
starts.
You really can't smoke a freshly rolled cigar. I mean, the tastes are okay, but it's not what it's going to end up being
Right.
Right.
when it ends up in the store on the shelf. So anything we test has been aged a minimum of 4 to 8 weeks, somewhere in there.
Go ahead.
When you're doing the first 2 cigars in the morning, in between cigars, do you do anything to cleanse your palates, or?
We drink orange juice, coffee. Sometimes we eat crackers, just like saltines, things like that, just to cleanse your
So
palate.
you're
And we make sure that the room is well ventilated as
Ventilated.
well.
Oh, yeah.
So you're
No-
not, you're
no
not too
dark
groggy.
chocolate?
People do their own thing,
Yeah.
basically. There's no,
When,
we don't have any strict
When I'm
rules.
blending, in between the first and second cigar in the morning, I have a cigar.
That's not surprising.
I don't think this gentleman will appreciate not knowing this following fact. How many cigars a day do you smoke?
I smoke 12 cigars a day, and I smoke more when I'm in the blending process.
Right.
But unlike what I hear from virtually everybody, I smoke I taste the last cigar of the day just as much as I taste the first cigar of the day.
As long, I agree with that. As long as you don't overdo it.
Yeah.
You can't.
For me,
you can't,
12 isn't overdoing it.
Well, yeah, for me, I've done it.
That would
I've
kill
done
me.
what you've done, but
Oh,
after a while, your palate just gets coated, and it's you don't really appreciate the true taste of the cigar.
You feel like your tongue's gonna
have-
fall out of your mouth.
Yeah.
I have a question that I've never ever heard asked. How does the process work vis-a-vis? You wake up in the morning and say, you know, I'd like to make this new Upman blend, or I'd like to make this new Monte Cristo blend, or do you blend things and say, well, this will fit better under this name or that name? How does that process work?
Okay.
Good question.
When we when we test the cigars, you know, after we do this like maybe 3 or 4 days, we always do it in the factory. Okay. We also categorize what we think the strength profile of the cigar is.
Right.
Okay. So then we sort of put it. We categorize all these and keep them sort of in the back room.
Right.
So when we want to introduce a blend that we want to make a strong cigar, we have a stockpile of blends that we can pull from, and then we'll retest those blends. If we're trying to make a strong cigar, if we're trying to make a medium-bodied cigar,
Right.
we have a stockpile of blends that we may have smoked a year ago that we can reproduce and test them again. So we try to keep an inventory of blends for future cigars
But
available.
how do you know? Because within all your brands, you have different taste and strength profiles in almost every one of them. There's no one brand, maybe Don Diego to some degree, but Monte Cristo has strengths sort of across the board, probably more towards medium and stronger than mild. But
Right.
how do you know that wow, this is going to make a good Monte Cristo blend? Because the price points between, let's say, a Vega Fina or a
Right.
Don Diego and a Monte Cristo are quite different. So how do you elect this blend to be this brand or another brand?
Well, as I mentioned, this
Am I-
team.
am I-
no, I
Am I
understand.
putting you too much in a
no,
corner here?
No, you can't. I'll answer it honestly. That's why marketing and sales have representatives that are part of the team.
You let them in?
Yes, we let them in. Well, we have to.
Your
We have no
first
choice.
mistake.
I know. We have no choice. So they really will direct the taste profile of the cigar that's going to be launched under a certain brand name. You know, the whole trend in cigars, you know, the last 4 or 5 years has been to more of full-bodied smokes.
And fatter.
Fatter, right,
Yeah.
which I'm not a real big fan of
Neither am
personally,
I.
but
Me neither.
you know, you make what people want to buy, so.
So in other words, when it leaves your shop, so to speak, when it leaves your importeur, then the sales and marketing people come up and say, "Wow, this should be a Monte Cristo, or this should be a Romeo."
Correct. That's the way it works. Okay.
Makes sense.
Right.
That makes sense.
What size do you
Gives them something to do,
taste
too.
when you do the tasting? Is it,
We usually use like a 6x52.
okay.
Good size.
Toro?
Yeah,
Toro,
it's quite
yeah.
Toro
Yeah.
size.
Yeah.
That's my favorite
Perfect.
size too.
Thick enough to give
Right.
it, yeah.
So for this particular one, because of the history of this one, how did they rediscover and reblend this one? If the original was
Well, we just tried to make a cigar that was all Cuban seed tobacco.
okay,
That was the origin behind this.
okay.
Well, I think we should go around the table at this point and get some comments. Yes? Scott, why don't you start it out? We
I love this cigar. I've had it before. Enjoy
you
this.
cheated.
What's that? Nah. Nice wrapper. It looks like it's got a little bit of tooth. It's dark. I'm getting sweet flavor, so I don't know if I can exactly identify what they are, but it seems really sweet to me. Lots of smoke. Again, I love the cigar.
Can't wait to see what you rated.
Huh?
Rob?
I agree with Scott. It's a beautiful wrapper. It's got a lot of, I say it's very oily.
Yep.
Yeah.
You're agreeing with him way
It's
too
got-
much.
I know. It's
because
because I'm
he's
sitting
sitting
next to
next
him.
to
I'm
him.
sitting next to him. I don't like that.
Great
He's
minds
afraid
think
of
alike.
him.
He's got the
no
cattle
doubt.
prod. Scott's got the cattle prod.
I'm getting an earthy wood taste to this cigar, especially through the retro hail. It does have a lot of smoke to it. I agree with you. Again, this is my favorite Upman. And I love the Cameroon Upmans too, because
Yeah.
the Cameroon is my
You're
favorite
huge,
wrapper.
yeah.
I love Cameroon, and the Upman's Cameroon is very good, but this is my favorite Upman. It's a fantastic cigar.
Paul?
It is by far my favorite Upman
Wow.
as well. I love the wrapper. I like the balance of the cigar, and unlike a lot of the other cigars that we smoke that start out really spicy and then settle down, this starts out a little creamy and a little sweet, and the spice
Right.
builds as you go.
Right.
And I enjoy that phenomenon in a cigar. So I'm very happy with it.
Tia?
I agree with them. It's dark, oily, very creamy. I'm definitely getting the cream. I get bold spice and some toastiness to it. I love this cigar. It's smooth, medium to full. I think a little bit more on the full side because of that spice. And the draw is once again impeccable. I mean, just a little tiny puff on it, and it's a lot of smoke in your mouth. So
What's the price point on these, Rob?
$7.25 to $8.40.
Oh, it's a very affordable
Thank you,
cigar.
Ryan.
Yes, it is.
A very affordable cigar. Well, again, I can't disagree with anything that's been said here. I mean, I caught that starting out very, very soft and smooth, and then, now
it's starting to pick up.
Kick in.
It's complex.
Yeah, it is very
Yeah.
complex. I mean, for a $7-8 cigar, it's very complex and very tasty.
Starting off with this one for some reason.
Burns evenly, nice ash.
Burns
Yeah,
slow.
I think it's a medium to
Oh,
full-bodied
thicker-
cigar. It's
thicker
very
wrapper.
round, but it has a lot of flavor to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
I really
completely
love
agree.
this
I
cigar.
couldn't argue with that.
for Dominican tobacco to be in here, because I'm not a big fan. I mean,
I'm very
I'm
intrigued by
enjoying it.
this whole tasting process. When you do notes of the flavors, do you describe them the way like we do here, or like cigar aficionado
That's one of the
does?
things we do. We have things you can check off: cinnamon, leather,
Oh, okay.
grass, things like that.
They use your
Okay.
flavor wheel.
Yeah.
Flavor wheel.
We've had a few where
Ryan.
we described the
Stole my
taste as
flavor.
moose dropping. Which none of
There's
yours,
none
of
of that in this cigar,
No,
by
there's
the
not.
way.
You know,
Is that under
regarding,
the animal?
regarding this
Whoa.
wrapper,
Oh, we have props.
I brought some
Toronto.
wrapper here
Is that
with
Not
weed?
me,
Colorado.
Is that
which
weed?
might be interesting for
It's
people
better
to.
than weed.
That looks like weed from here.
No, that
Are you
is
saying WEED?
that is heaven in a bag.
This is Ecuadorian
Oh, I can smell
Cuban
it, too.
seed wrapper.
Mm.
Now, when I buy this tobacco, I have to buy what they call various primings, or the position, stalk position, where the tobacco comes from. Most of the wrapper is what we call upper priming. It's like the 6th, 7th, and 8th priming.
The better stuff.
Yeah, the better stuff. But within those primings, you get different colors and thickness of tobacco. Okay, this wrapper I brought here is pretty similar to this, but it's a little darker. Okay, so one of my jobs is, as part of this blending team, is to try to come up with cigars that utilize all the various primings. Like this wrapper here, we also use it on the Romeo by Romeo and Juliet. We also use it on the Monte Cristo Epic, and we also use it on the Monte. Now, if you put those three cigars together, the Romeo by Romeo and Juliet will have the darkest wrapper. It's more the 8th priming tobacco, which is more like this. If you look at the Epic, it's a little lighter in color. It's a little lower stalk position. And then the Monte is lighter yet. So I have to, when I buy the tobacco, I have to buy all these primings. So I have to find a home
Gotcha.
for all these different
one?
shade variations. So that's one of the things I bring up in these meetings, is that we have maybe some lighter wrapper, or we have really dark wrapper that we have to find a home for. So I'll direct the blenders, and when they make new blends, say for the next meeting, to make some utilizing either real dark tobacco that we're not presently using, or a somewhat lighter tobacco that we're not using, say, in the Monte. So I direct them so that we find a home for all this tobacco. It makes my buying a lot easier. And it helps the supplier out also, because that way he can get rid of all the ranges of tobaccos that he produces.
Larry, given the level of variation from one priming to another on the same plant,
Correct.
to your knowledge, has anybody ever tried to make an entire cigar out of leaves, not just from the same plantation, but literally from the same plant, just using different primings?
I mean, you could do that, but it's what I always say: when you create a cigar, it's like cooking. You need various ingredients. You just can't use one ingredient. You have to use either Dominican tobacco somewhere, Peruvian tobacco, Nicaraguan, to make a blend. We talked earlier in a previous show about the Nicaraguan tobacco making a puro, a claro from one country. Nicaragua is unique in that it has different areas that produces different tobaccos.
Okay.
But generally speaking, most blends, whether we make them or other people make it, they use tobaccos from different origins because that makes an interesting, complex smoke.
Thank you.
Okay, this, you know, what we're smoking here, this is a wrappers from Ecuador, the binders from Nicaragua, and the fillers are from a different part of Nicaragua, Esteli, and also Dominican Cuban seed fillers.
Okay.
I think
All right.
we're gonna have to save this for another show.
All right.
Because we want to rate this,
Yes.
and we're starting to run out of time. These shows go by so fast. Maybe we should be on for an hour. Let us know
Yeah.
if you want us on for an hour.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Or,
let us know.
or you rather see us for just 15 minutes.
Yeah, cut it down.
Scott, you might as well head it off and be quick.
4.75.
Okay.
Stole mine.
I don't want to agree with you. 4.8.
That's just wrong.
Well, I'm with you.
Yeah.
I'd call it a 4.8.
Yeah.
Going with Scott, 4.75.
4.8 just to mess you all up. It's a great cigar, and at the price, they get special bonus points for the price points.
Yes.
It's a super great cigar at a reasonable price. Scott, did you tell us about our August out to this month and what we're going to be
I
doing?
have not yet.
Well, I think it's time for you to tell us.
All right. Well, all month long, if you buy any 20 Altadis products, you can get a 4-pack of premium cigars, absolutely free.
Or in some
So-
cases, it might even be a 5-pack.
Actually, you're right. They're different
Chunky
packs each
Monkey and a few others.
week. Right.
Chunky
Or if you buy 10,
That's what it's called.
if you buy 10, you get the same pack for $9.95, and if you buy 5, you get the same pack for
Well, I
$19.95.
buy 1,000.
1,000?
I get a Laurel and Hardy
Give me a case.
handshake.
Yeah.
You get your own
my
store.
Why does he
God,
get that in
absolutely.
every show? Why do you
Scott,
guys let him do
he's
that?
got- I don't know. I snuck it in.
He snuck it in.
Don't know. We just allow it, but
Next time he says that, I'm falling off the chair.
we're going to
I'm
have
just gonna
events
fall off the chair.
in all of our stores throughout the month.
Ready?
The closest one is next Monday in Westchester from 5 to 8. That's on the 11th. And then on the 15th, we're going to be right here in Horsham from 12 to 3.
Oh, good.
And then the same day in Colmar from 5 to 8. And we'll have lots of different specials, some swag. Ryan will probably be there.
Swag. I thought
Oh, you
swag
can
was
come get-
style.
Ryan's gonna
Just
be
for
there on
Ryan
that count.
himself.
Exactly. That's
So
price of
Ryan's going to
admission.
make a personal appearance?
Ryan's the
Sure.
swag.
Sure.
Ryan's the swag.
Ryan's the swag, yes.
I don't think so.
There you have it. And as a reminder, when we say buy any of the Altadis, it's the Monte Cristo, the Romeo, the Vega Fina, Juan
Trinidad.
Lopez, Trinidad, St. Louis Ray,
Don Diego.
Don Diego.
If you can find them.
Well, the H.
If you
Upman.
can find him.
Oh, we had the
Did you say
babies.
Oopman?
And the baby.
Yeah, is it H. Upman? what?
Upman.
Upman.
Up.
Oop.
Upman.
Oh my
Oop.
God.
Oop.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah, it's not Greek though.
All right, time to say goodbye.
Bye. Hi, Mom. Life's too short to smoke
Short cigars.
short cigars.
Ciao for now, everybody.
Remember, smoke often and smoke happy.
Cheap cigars. Too short. Cheap cigars.
Smoke sweet. Bye bye for now.
Larry, it's been a blast.
Great. Thank you very much. You guys are very knowledgeable about cigars, and I'm sure.
Yeah, we memorized it all.
Oh, you
pretend.
do a
We
good
make it
job.
up as we go.
We want to thank
Very
you all
nice
for,
seeing you
again,
again.
watching. It's a blast to do this, and we're honored to have people like Larry on. And keep watching. Thank you.